Yo, what up, nerds? It's the weekend, so that means my ass is coming right for your stupid faces. Welcome to a brand new episode of Anime Streaming Showcase. We are going to look at a fun little series today from the same creator of One Punch Man. But first, I would like to talk about Charlottesville, Virginia really quick. That was an incredibly terrible situation that happened. It should have never have occurred, and if you are on the side of Nazis or any of the white supremacists that are in defense of that, you can go fuck right off right now because no one wants to hear it, no one has to hear it, no one should hear it because you're pieces of garbage and you're human pieces of bile that should be wiped from the face of the earth. I don't condone genocide, but I think you people are fucking disgusting and you have no place on this planet, and I would not like to share a planet with you, so piss off. Alright, on to the episode. If you're the manga artist under the pseudonym One, I have to imagine you're quite happy and content with what your two webcomic series, One Punch Man and Mob Psycho 100, have become. They're both gigantic hits in the manga world, with One Punch Man being remade with art from the incomparable Yusuke Murata, and your other series, Mob Psycho 100, being a huge seller, and then both series having successful anime. While both series are viewed as stylistically primitive in terms of art direction in one's hands, the One Punch Man remake is astoundingly gorgeous on every page thanks to Yusuke Murata's work, and studios Madhouse and Bones have created two spectacular anime with each property. But art isn't necessarily a deterrent in enjoying either series. Each series may share occasionally similar aesthetics, and the main characters can occasionally look alike in certain moments. It's simply a staple of the mangaka style one. The two series couldn't be more different in a lot of ways. Mob Psycho 100 takes the rather simple premise of an average kid, Mob, whose real name is Shigeo Kageyama, and throws in a variety of psychic abilities, villains, and anti-heroes to create a world all its own. The series starts out as a more slice-of-life, day-to-day adventure with Mob working for a complete charlatan/entrepreneur in Reagan Arataka, who runs an exorcism business that does extremely well, mainly thanks to Mob's help. Mob also attends school and tries out for various clubs and teams offered, with various episodes devoted to these various ventures. Mob is a likable, genuinely pleasant character, often mellow and laid back, with a very soft-spoken voice that isn't common for an anime like this. He still emotes and reacts as expected in several moments, but he's typically deadpan in most of his deliveries. It's only when the eponymous counter of Mob's stress level increases that we see more from Mob than ever expected. His mellow attitude reaches its apex and transforms him into a diabolical yet almost Nirvana-esque being that will wipe literally everything around him into nothingness. His grip on his powers is completely lost, and he must reset his stress to return to a normal state of living. In the beginning of the series, the counter is sort of a running gag that slowly increases before act breaks or as an episode ends, but we do see the impact of it more than once throughout the three arcs of the series. In fact, the bulk of the first third of the series is merely setting up Mob's world and character. We eventually get tonal shifts and more action-heavy arcs later, but expect the first few episodes to be a bit slower and not deliver too much action that something like One Punch Man did its first few episodes. Mob Psycho 100 is a bit more delicate and slower paced in comparison to a show like One Punch Man. In fact, full disclosure, the slow pacing and development was what put me off of the manga and the show for many months. I was hot off catching up to One Punch Man that I wanted more of that, and I thought Mob Psycho 100, given that it's the same creator, would be the answer, and I was completely wrong. The latter two-thirds of the series present a more crucial, interconnected story, especially the middle arc, which takes the series to an even more absurd degree. But they were my favorite parts of the series, and I'm glad I stuck around and finished it out. Mob Psycho 100 still ranks on a good to great scale for me, but there's a lot to like about it in an animation and storytelling understanding. Without a doubt, the animation and art directors they have through the show rocket Mob Psycho 100 to an animation level that many other series only dream to achieve. It's very apparent that they had a lot of fun creating wacky and zany scenes of destruction and battles for the anime. Fights are so unbelievable and so over the top that any semblance of real harm to the characters is impractical. Bodies are launched into buildings, into the ground, and then into the stratosphere before finally being driven down through more buildings and into the ground once again, before walking away only with a minor few scratches and bruises. They kind of explain how it's possible thanks to various psychic barriers that the psychics place upon themselves, read literal plot armor, to survive these atomic attacks, and if you cannot handle that, walk away now, because Mob Psycho 100 never goes back from that. There are a number of predictable plot points, but it's also occasional moments of surprise in Mob Psycho 100, moments that hooked me back in after nearly wanting to tap out once again. With news recently that Mob Psycho 100's animation studio Bones was gearing up for more of the show, I thought I'd finally give Mob Psycho 100 another go, and I'm really glad that I did. It's certainly not the best action show around, nor is it the worst, but it creates a living world that's fun to spend time in and learn about. The creativity of the show and the character shines in the animation and the action, and even out of context, you can look at Mob Psycho 100 as an artistically pleasing show. It may not be everyone's style or preference, but every now and again, an absurd premise accompanied with insane action is welcome, and it freshens up stale series or genres like rom-coms or fantasy anime that are pretty rampant in the industry. Now, I personally prefer One Punch Man and its world and its story far more than Mob Psycho 100, but I absolutely appreciate the more unconventional storytelling the series presented and commend it for it. Additionally, I'd actually place Mob Psycho 100 before One Punch Man in terms of an audience recommendation for younger viewers. The violence is mostly bloodless. Although bruises and scratches occur, there is no fan service that the industry usually is rampant with. It could be perfect for a younger viewer that would eventually level up to more adult series. If you need a reminder of how bonkers anime can be, or perhaps you want a series to watch a bad series from your memories, Mob Psycho 100 will be that show. Look to Crunchyroll to offer your subbed option, while Funimation is handling the dubbed and sub distribution for US home media. So there we have it, brand new episode of Anime Streaming Showcase focusing on Mob Psycho 100, a show that I should have given better time, but I haven't, and now I finally did, and it's really great. I do like it. I do enjoy that show. I do think it is a little more unconventional than One Punch Man and some other series like this, and I do think it earns its stripes in that case, and I think it's a worthwhile show. I wouldn't put it above some other shows just because of its ideas and presentation and stuff like that, but I wouldn't turn someone away from watching it. So yeah, that's it. That's this week's A.S.S. I'm glad you joined me. Thank you so much as always. Comments and likes and all that fun stuff are always super fun. I love reading them. They're super great. The Trigun one especially, there was a lot of memories and comments shared about past memories and fun things that viewers had discovered series recently or discovered it 10 years ago, and they were sharing, and it was super fun, and I really do love reading those things. They're so much fun seeing where people discovered a series or rediscovering or wanting to rewatch it and sort of getting that little kick to do it. So yeah, we will see you next time. I'm going to go play more video games because I just got Neo, and that game is fucking great, and I'm going to go play some of it, and I will see you guys around. Have a great weekend. Stay cool. See you, nerds.